my top 5 mistakes from the 2025 deer season, and kind of what I can do to help myself prepare and to prevent those same 5 mistakes in 2026. So stay tuned. We'll go through them real quick here, and yeah, hopefully they can help you also prepare for your 2026 deer season, and maybe you can learn from my mistakes too. They're pretty simple and pretty straightforward, and I probably should have seen them coming at the beginning of the season, and I overlooked a few simple things, and they definitely affected my season, I'd say. So stay tuned. So the number one biggest mistake that I had in 2025 is I didn't do food plots. I just didn't have the time to do it. I had a busy summer of 2025. I'll never do that again. Normally I would spend the summer doing the Jeff Sturgis method, spray 2 or 3 times with Roundup, planting. I really like cereal grains, so my number 1 is rye, number 2 wheat, number 3 is oats. That's my favorite things to plant. I like brassicas too. They're just very hard to grow at my camp. I can grow them really good out back behind my house, but up at camp I've never had a ton of success. Now if I can get them to grow, don't get me wrong, the deer love them, but the deer love the cereal rye and the cereal wheat, and they absolutely hammer oats from mid-September, late September through October until they start to turn yellow. So I focus more on cereal grains up there. But yeah, I'm not going to let that happen again this year. My goal is to get up there as soon as the snow's off and as soon as spring green up hits and start getting my spraying done. If I can get that first initial spraying sometime in April to early May is my intended goal this year. If I can get that initial spraying done, normally I'm in good shape. If you let it get out of hand and you let it get too far ahead of you, then that's normally when you have problems. And I think that getting up early to camp and getting that done will benefit me greatly. It benefits everybody, I think, but yeah, we just had clover food plots this year, and we felt the pressure later in the season. Yeah, early season was good. We had lots of deer using the food plots early season, but after a couple of frosts, the clover just wasn't as attractive as it is, beginning of October. So yeah, that's the goal for this year in food plots, is just get up early and try to get those sprayed off in late April, early May. So my next biggest mistake for 2025 was not getting trail cameras up early enough. I probably didn't get trail cameras up until less than a month before the opener of bow season, October 1st up there, September 27th for camp, but October 1st statewide for New York. I definitely felt the impact of not having any season or preseason intel. My goal for this year is to get up there when I go up and do my food plots, late April, early May, get some cameras up in some areas where I know deer frequent early in the season, whether that be, some mock scrapes or on the edges of food plots and stuff like that. I think it'll really help benefit me to, one, have the early season intel, know where the deer are moving early season, and then kind of shift from there into the regular season / late season movement. And also just develop an actual hit list. I kind of was hunting for most of the year, not really. I mean, I knew a couple of deer, but I didn't know as many deer as I feel like I should have known were there, were frequenting the property. And I think it'll definitely help me greatly this year to get cameras out early and get that intel going and kind of help move me along and help get me a little amped up for the season too. So yeah, that's my goal for this year, is to get those cameras out late April, early May again. So my third biggest mistake from 2025 was not doing any preseason scouting. This kind of goes hand in hand with not having my cameras up on time, but I mean, I literally didn't do any scouting preseason. I went up to camp, I walked the edges of some food plots about a month before the season. I found where I thought deer were coming out, tracks going in and out, and a little bit of sign, and I put up some tree stands and relied on the fact that I would get a little bit of in-season intel while I was having some seat time in the tree stand, and it worked. It wouldn't be my recommendation to anybody to how to kill deer. I think that I really suffered just not having the intel of where I thought the deer were coming from, where the deer were going to. In the past, I've always gone up early in the season. I would say February or March. Me and Ryan try to go up, and we try to walk the property. And well, there's still snow on the ground, I would say, but it's hard enough to where we can walk on top of it. Makes for easy walking. And I like to use that late season, over winter sign to kind of guide me. If there's sign that matches up to what I saw in the fall previous or in previous years, I like to scout that, because I think that there are certain areas that the deer use constantly throughout the year, whether it be late winter or early season or mid-season. I would say that rut is a little bit different. You kind of have to scout that during the rut and know from previous history, but for the rest of the season, you can use a lot of that intel to really help you narrow down where the deer are. And I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to narrow it down to there's a deer coming here at 5 o'clock, but I mean, you can at least know that, hey, if I go in this area, I have a chance to see a deer because I know there's this major trail that comes through this area, or hey, this is where the deer like to come out into this food plot. Maybe if I can backtrack that, the bedding might not be the same that time of the year, but you might be able to say, okay, well, I know that this is where the deer are bedding this time of the year, so let me follow this back and see what I can find. So definitely getting up there and doing our walkthrough late February, early March, when the snow's still on, when I can see that sign from late winter. And also, I'm going to try to use my time when I go up in the summertime, the spring and summertime, up to camp. I'm going to try to use that time to do some speed scouting. I'm not going to go and walk through the whole property mid-season and summer and spring and summer, but I will use that time to walk trails that I see coming into the food plots that we're growing, and walk those back, see if I can find bedding sites, see if I can find historical sign and everything that I can see, just to try to give me that little bit of information, what the deer did last year, what the deer have done in the past. I think that'll really help benefit me again going into 26, with being able to see the deer that I want to see. It was a tough year for me, and I didn't see the amount of deer that I wanted to, but I had a good successful season, and I attribute that to just me being a good hunter, but I'd like to make it a little easier for 26. So another mistake number 4 that I had for the 2025 season is I waited until the absolute last minute to either set, check, or move any stands. Honestly, I mean, you guys saw, I had a video. I was moving stands mid-season this year. Probably not the best choice. I think my goal next year is to try to have stands set by sometime in August, or at the late August. By September 1st, I'd like to have all my stands set. That includes, clearing shooting lanes, setting mock scrapes, making sure my cameras are in position for the start of the season, so that way I don't have to go in and disturb these places. Prime example is last year I took my hang and hunt stand, I call it, up to camp literally like September 10th, and hung it in a spot and cut shooting lanes for it, and I never hunted it once because this camera that I put out in front of it was showing me pretty clearly that there were no deer out in front of it. I mean, I went off of the sign that I saw and what historical knowledge that I had, but the deer just weren't in that area that year as much as I thought that they were going to be. So yeah, my goal for 26 is to make sure that my stands are in place by, mid to late August at the latest. Make sure they're set. My tree stands are set, straps are checked, shooting lanes are caught, mock scrapes are set. Just making sure that I'm all ready to go. And then also, up at camp we have a lot of permanent blinds. So I've had for a lot of years I've had projects that need to get done. I have a platform up there that I have never built an actual wooden blind on top of. I've always just put a pop-up blind on. The tower stand that I hunted out of a few times this year, I saw the 4-point out of. It's leaning real bad. It needs to get leveled up. It needs some spray foam. There's lots of permanent stands up in my camp that just need some work, and everything got put off last year. Just had a busy summer, and yeah, so that's my goal for 26 is to just make sure that I can get up there and have the time and not feel rushed, and make sure that I have my stands set. Set the trap. I like to say, get my trap set early. That way I don't feel like I'm behind the 8 ball like I did all last year. I was just basically all last year I hunted off a historical sign and what I've known for the last few years. So that's my goal for 26 for my tree stands. So my final mistake, my biggest mistake that I think for the whole season of 2025 was just really not slowing down to enjoy the process. I really enjoy getting set up for the season. I enjoy the food plots, setting cameras, scouting. I enjoy, setting tree stands. I enjoy all of those things. And last year, I didn't slow down and enjoy those. I had a busy 2025. I'm not going to say that I'm upset by it. My wife and I had a new baby in August, the beginning of August. That was the greatest thing ever. My wife being pregnant and things around the house and getting ready, my whole summer was tied up, and I'm fine with that. But my goal is this year to be able to, enjoy my summer up there and get up there the few times that I do and get my things done. As for the season itself, I didn't stop and smell the roses. I didn't stop and enjoy my time in the tree stand. I was more worried about capitalizing on every opportunity that I had. My father was sick. He passed away mid-season, November 10th. I didn't really get the chance to stop and enjoy the season because every time I was up there, I was either trying to hurry up and get home from my wife and try to help her take care of the baby, or trying to hurry up and get home so I could go visit my dad in the hospital, or, go spend some time with my dad if he was home, and, or help my mother with things around the house because my dad couldn't do them. And I didn't get a chance to really enjoy it, and I regret that the most, I think, out of this whole season. That being said, I had one of the best years I've ever had. Whether that was just shit luck on my side or I had someone looking over me, I don't know, but I shot 4 deer. I've only ever shot 2 deer in a season, and so to shoot 4 deer in a year, it was amazing. But I'm not going to contribute that to being the best season that I've ever had. I've had much better seasons. I've had years where I've seen many more deer than I saw this year. And I attribute all of that to the fact that my preseason prep just was not there. To be 100% honest with you, I enjoy sitting in the tree stand and just watching deer. If every time I went out deer hunting I saw 1 deer, I'd call it the most successful season of my life. But that wasn't the case this year. I feel like the reason that I shot 4 deer was that I capitalized on every opportunity that I had, and I really just, made good choices about when and where I was going to sit, and I made good use of the time that I had this year, but it was certainly not my best season ever. Tree stand time wise, number of deer seen, quality of deer killed. I feel like I could have done better had I had that preseason prep time, but like I said, I'm happy that I capitalized on every opportunity that I had. My freezer's full. I'm happy about that. My family's fed. I'm happy about that. I got to spend time with my father. I got to spend time with my wife. I got to spend time with my new baby boy. I'm happy about all those things. And, I wouldn't change it for the world, but I'm just hoping that next year in 2026, I can go in much more prepared and ready for the season. And yeah, I'm already excited. It's now January 15th today. I'm already looking forward to being able to go up to camp and do some scouting and put up some cameras. And, I really want to get out back and start doing some habitat work out behind the house and, getting up to camp and doing a few things. And, I've got all these projects spinning in my head that I want to get done. And I really already can't wait. So, here's to 2026 deer season, the preseason prep and everything to go with it. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do, and you guys can follow along with me. And I think we're going to have a good time. And I hope everybody's 2026 deer season is the best one yet. So thanks for following along, and, stay tuned for more. Everybody, all my upstate New York friends, stay warm, and I hope you enjoy snowballing the snow that we're gonna get. We've been in it for a few weeks now, in a month and yeah, it's been fun, and we're ready for spring up here. So here's to everybody. Enjoy.